Extreme MAGA Republicans just don't threaten our personal and economic rights. They embrace political violence. Think about it. They refuse to accept the will of the people. They threaten our very democracy. That's not hyperbole. They threaten our very democracy. We're literally in a battle for America's soul. I mean it. They threaten our very democracy. I mean it. They embrace political violence. 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 I mean it.
These people, folks. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday Night Live. It's the zoo, and it's Ection 2022 coming up. Do you think I can get away with saying that? I know that it's actually a Nintendo game, but an Ection. I'll probably get in trouble for saying that. Folks, it is the zoo. It's Sunday Night Live. That means you, yes, you, get to determine the path and discussion. Now, we cannot talk about the Ection. So if you put the word Ection in your super chat comments, I'll change it to Nintendo games. That's right. I'll change it to Nintendo games, but we all know what's being discussed. We've got to have our code words, kind of like Jim Jones juice, right? That stuff will kill you. Because back when Jim Jones had his religious cult, right? Everyone drank the Kool-Aid of death. And I call that the Jim Jones juice. You want to get the jibbity jab? You are taking a terrible chance, right? We also had cerveza bug, right? Cerveza, coronavirus. That's right, folks. COVID, right? We had to do code words in order to have a discussion, and we're still doing it. So anyways, this is your show, Sunday Night Live, where we have the thepreparedmind.club, and we bring it together with YouTube and then subscribestar.com. And we're all here live right now. If you've got a comment, question, thought, an observation about last week, this weekend, what's coming in the forward weeks, you want to discuss ancient history, politics, philosophy, this is your chance. A lot of people, folks, in my life, my personal life, my business life, everywhere, someone goes, I've got something really important to say. And I'm like, well, shit, this is your chance to say it. If you think what you have to say can help others think, prepare, learn, understand, and grow, what better place than right now, folks? We're going to have an audience of thousands and thousands and thousands that ultimately watch this video. And this is your chance to reach out and put your thoughts out there. I'll make you famous, right? Now, in all truth, I don't want to be famous. I just am what I am. And most of us are that way. We're just normal people. But we have moments of clarity, thoughts where we go, you know what? If I could just get this out there, it could make a difference. And that's how I started this channel, folks. I started this channel right here in December of 2013. I think that's going to put us on the 13th of December next month. I think that'll be the start of the 10th year, the 10th anniversary. That'll be it. Right? That'll be the 10th anniversary. That's a lot of time to be sitting in this chair. And I guess I've been around the world since we started, folks. But it's a lot of time that I've been in this chair talking with you across a lot of different, shall we say, platforms, topics. We've cruised in the green truck many times. Right? I've talked to you from the jungle, from the bunker, from the studio, from my fifth wheel, right? From the boiler room, all over the planet. It has been one heck of a, I guess you could say, journey. But this journey is a long time from ending if things continue, right? we talked about when this show started about us going into SHTF. What, like the second video I did was the top 10 things. Is that the first or the second? I can't even remember, but it was like, I think it was the very first one. Top 10 things that could cause SHTF. And since then, we've talked about how to prepare, different topics having to do with your neighbors, the government. I mean, I remember after a couple of months, people were like, so what are you going to talk about now, smart guy? Right? And it's like, well, there's always something to talk about because we have evil people continually trying to destroy this country. Oh, yeah. You bet they are. Now, you can hit that super chat button. You can hit the Cash App button down below. We still have PayPal active, even though we kind of don't like PayPal at all. We have a number of different ways that you can say, hey, I've got something to talk about. And your support through the super chat techniques keeps this channel going, pays the bills, keeps us rolling. Folks, thepreparedmind.club is our own website with our own hosting service and our own server. And folks, yes, we have to resist our own cyber attacks. And we've been hit a few times. Just ask Jolene, right? We had someone hit us and screwed everything up. Someone hit us and froze it. Someone hit us and put their own shit on the page, their own advertisement. Someone hit us once and was using our server to process, of all things, cryptocurrency formulations, that Bitcoin mining. It was, crypto mining. Someone hijacked our fucking server. Unbelievable. So we have to pay for all of that and premium protection. We're just like, we're just as big in that regard as CNN or NBC, that we have our own server and we have to fucking pay to protect ourselves from cyber terrorism. Anyways, we're the problem, really. I think this guy right here, he is the problem. Right now, Jolene is in the great state of California with this clown, this joker, as the governor. And I asked Mr. T to, kind of hit that one up. It wasn't too hard, I hope. But yeah, the guy is a clown. He is a joker, and he's in charge of the state. According to Jolene, it's a nice day out. The weather is fair. Nothing really big going on. Power outage. So we've got Uman, we've got Jolene. Everyone's working, but Jolene is working through a power outage situation. I tell you, that's what we got going. So, anyways, I said there's an issue in this country. There's an issue with the political left using their power, their office, their political, shall we say, authority to try and defeat their political opponents. That's illegal, by the way. It is illegal. Biden's press secretary, that idiot Karine Jean-Pierre, total troglodyte, mental midget, a formal complaint has been filed because she called, she made these mega Republican statements, right? And the complaint is that she's violating the Hatch Act, using her political office in government to berate political opponents. Well, they definitely inspire leftist violence, which we've seen as of late. We have, but yeah, they're not allowed to use that authority, that microphone, to put down the entire party, right? They can talk about some things, but anyways, they're starting to get heat, folks. And they're still a couple of days away from the Ection, right? The big Nintendo game is Tuesday. And they're turning on all the heat they can, and they're getting in trouble for it now. Right? Here is what this idiot said, Karine Jean-Pierre. Quote, "We have seen mega Republican officials who don't believe in the rule of law. They refuse to accept the results of free and fair elections, and they fan the flames of political violence through what they praise and what they refuse to condemn." Woo-hoo-hoo. Really? Yeah, folks, really. How many Republicans are out there attacking others? other candidates, the candidates' families, attacking supporters at events. I see leftists grabbing Republicans by the throat. In fact, there was a big fat white guy who grabbed a black woman by the throat and shoved her at a leftist event. I didn't see the mainstream media call that a hate attack. Nope, nope, nope. Right? Of course, we have the Paul Pelosi, where's my hammer? It feels like it's in my ass. We got that problem going on. Right? And that of course, yeah, that's really that's really what we're going to call a Republican conspiracy. Oh, and Hillary, of course, this week called the Republican Party a cult. Now, Hillary can say whatever she wants. She doesn't have political authority. The president, Biden, Jean-Pierre, blah, 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 that broad, right? They have all kinds of political power. And basically what they're doing is eroding trust in the government. How can anyone believe anything they say if they're just going to make a bunch of shit up? Right? Okay. So what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to start in with the super chats. Super chat donation time. And it's up to you guys to pick the subjects for the show. I've got my own stuff that I want to talk about, but it's your show on Sunday. So let us go with it. Jolene, who do we want to put up on the big board to start? We're going to start with Dylan Barnett with a $1.99 super chat. And he says, what do you think about collecting silver and gold? Well, I'll tell you what. This right here is a silver bar. It's a 1 ounce silver bar. This was sent to me as a gift by a very special show supporter. Right? And Ooman one time sent me a true 1 ounce silver likeness of a cryptocurrency. It was kind of a reverse joke on them. Like this, right? Silver. There we go. Let me get that up there right. That's the Anchor Globe and Eagle right there. Come on. Silver, by the way, is the most reflective metal on the planet. There we are. That's a 1 ounce silver. I think collecting silver and gold is a fine idea because you own it. You hold it. It's in your possession. Stocks and bonds, while they have a potential for a very good return on investment, it's pretty risky if you take a look at what the Federal Reserve is doing and what the president is doing and what the World Economic Forum is doing. So if you have money in the stock market, it is quite a risk. And I won't discourage anyone from taking risks, but I'm not going to encourage them either. Right? Anyways, you've got that, but your bank account, how safe is that? Well, first off, if you keep a lot of money in there, a lot of cash, you're losing 10 to 20% annual in value due to inflation, the purchasing power. Well, right now, gold and silver are really beaten down, Dylan, with respect to their trading value on the COMEX. In other words, I think silver and gold are on discount sale, extreme sale. Now, what's interesting, though, is while silver is about $20 an ounce, if you try to buy some, you're going to pay $25 to $35 an ounce because of the premiums. And yeah, it's an incredible, strange phenomena we're in. I believe silver and gold to be incredibly undervalued. Now, you use the word collecting. A lot of people use the word stacking. A lot of people use the word investing. A lot of people use the word storing value. Right? There's a lot of different ways to think about gold and silver, but it is the primary form of money that has existed on this planet all the way through every empire, through every civilization, back to Jesus and beyond. Gold and silver has been money. And even today, it is money. It was called a barbarous relic, a shiny rock. It's just some metal. Then why is China buying it by the ton? Literally, folks, I can't go out and buy an ounce of gold, right? That shit, an ounce of gold, once you pay the premiums, is somewhere around $1,800 an ounce. Imagine trying to buy a pound of gold. They're not buying pounds, folks. The Chinese government is buying tons and literal tons. Like a fucking forklift has to go to lift that stuff up. They're buying that by the pallet loads. And so are other countries. And so are the central banks. Why are they buying gold? Shouldn't they be buying dollars? No, I don't think so. They're buying gold because I think something is going to happen. We're having a currency crisis, folks. I caught something on an internet article talking about hyperinflation is coming. Hyperinflation. Let me see if I can find that for you real quick. This is important, man. In fact, that was it right there. Oh, yeah. Elliott Management. The world is on the path to hyperinflation, which is the direct route to global societal collapse. Well, that would be Elliott Management. Right. The QE, quantitative easing balances, simply cannot be unwound. And the policy response to the recession will be to take the $30 trillion balance to what? They're going to take it to 50 trillion, 75 trillion, 100 trillion. And that's what Elliott Management is saying is, hey, you can't print your way out of this, can you? Well, folks, that's what quantitative easing was. It was an attempt to print our way with currency, print our way to financial stability. So to return to the gold and silver discussion point, I think it's an excellent idea to turn paper money into silver and gold, but not up until the point where you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and means of self-defense as part of your plan, right? Because I've heard so many people go, you can't eat silver, you can't eat gold. Yeah, no shit. Well, if you don't have a gun, you can't protect your food and your family, right? It works where everything is interactive, right? You can't eat gold and silver, but you can sure buy a lot of stuff with it, especially when paper money is absolutely garbage. Don't worry, folks. SHTF and the consequences are a series of events. It's not a single event where we go, shit has hit the fan, gold and silver worth $1 million. Go ahead and put that link back up there, Jolene. We recommend using SD Bullion, and that is the link. We have an affiliate link with SD Bullion if you want to purchase gold and want to purchase silver, right? Silver, $20 an ounce plus premium. Gold is $16.50 an ounce or something like that plus premium. SD Bullion has been fair. Everyone that I know that has used them have been pleased with it. I think they have the best price. They buy back gold and silver also. It's been a good company to work with. I've helped a lot of people find some satisfaction in buying their own precious metals. In other words, become your own bank by keeping your financial value safe. A lot of questions there. Anyways, it was a great topic to start with. So I really wanted to give you your money's worth on that Super Chat donation. It is important, folks, because of what's happening in the news. Okay, we got someone else sitting there. Another one. Yes, we have Chin Music with $19.99 Super Chat donation. He says, John, which is likely to happen first? We finish counting the cities in the free and fair election, or Beta O'Dork buys a new shirt? Oh, man. Beto O'Rourke, that guy is one of the biggest losers. I love this guy. Remember when he said, hey, we're not gonna, no, we don't want your guns. The Democrats ain't gonna take your guns.
Hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not gonna allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore. Hell yes, hell yes, hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15. Hell yes, your AK-47. Hell yes, we're gonna take your AR-15.
Oh, hell no.
Hell yes, we're not gonna allow
That guy. I tell you what, election night is going to be a shit show. It truly is. Now, Biden, even the president of the United States, has weighed in and said, hey, don't expect there to be any quick results on this election. The further we get into the future, right? We're like going into the future. Shouldn't things get smoother? Why is it that 10, 20, 40, 80 years ago, we could have an election and have the results that night very quickly with people counting votes by hand, right? You put some of these over here, there's some Democrats, you get some of these over here, there's a Republican. They could figure it out so quickly, but we're now in the we went into the atomic age, the computer age. Now we're in the cyber computer artificial intelligence age, and we can't settle an election in the same time. It used to take human beings. The idea was a computer can process more information than the human mind much quicker. So it would be faster, more reliable, less prone to make errors. I guess when they told us how good computers were, they didn't tell us about all the people who would lie, cheat, and steal in it. Wow. Unbelievable. So what was Chin Music's super chat? It was, what's likely to happen first? We finished counting the cities in the free and fair Ection. I think Beta Dork buys a new shirt. I think that comes before we're done counting to see who wins the Nintendo game. But I do not believe Beto the Dork. I don't think he's going to win, folks. I don't think he'll be the next governor of Texas. All right. He'll probably be eating his shirt before he gets that. Okay. We're 2 days away from a huge election. 2 days. And we're at 325 people live. I think we should have that hit 400. I really do. I want to see that hit 400. Listen, folks, we're 2 days away. Tuesday, depending on what's going on in my area here, I'm in Studio B topside. In 2 days, I'm going to be voting. I'm not going to vote early, and I will not vote often. I will vote one time. But I'm going to go at the end of the day so that the Democrats don't get to know, right, how many Republican votes they need to create in order to win. It's going to be interesting. But, yeah, I'm going to go vote. I recommend everyone else vote. Vote once, vote legally. But it's incredible to me how this observation came to me. Look at the candidates we have. Joe Biden, Beto O'Rourke, Festerman, right? It would seem that only idiots would vote for them, right? Only idiots would vote for them. But look at who's doing the most voting. Artificial intelligence and dead people and their pets. No wonder the Democrats get so many votes, because the people that are voting for them have the lowest IQs. It's unbelievable. That's who. That is who is voting for these people. I mean, come on. Look at this guy, right? He looks like Slog from the Goonies. Hey, you guys, vote for me. Can't even read his teleprompter. All right, Super Chat donation coming up right now is Kablamo. Jenny Jen, it's JJ, Jenny Jen from my old stomping ground in California with a $49.99 Super Chat donation. Hey, Jen, I miss you. Tell everyone back there I said hi, and I'll see them when I see them. Anyway, she says, hey, all, just checking in, John. Have a drink on me. Love you all. Semper Fi. I tell you what, why don't we just do that? Why don't we do that? I got some of the captain here. I tell you what. You know what? I think I'm going to do this. I think election night, maybe I'll come on live a little later in the evening. I'll put together a plan for election night. Now, back in 2016, or whenever the heck it was. Yeah, it was 2016 when Trump won. Yeah, that was quite a shit show. I was up all night with you guys. And then, I can't even remember what happened in 2020. Jiminy Crickets, but I probably wouldn't be allowed to talk about that Nintendo game because, it's so dangerous that we want to talk about that. Anyways, Jen, hope you're good. Be sure and give Lucas a hard time. Be sure and give John a hard time if you see him. And speaking of giving people a hard time, folks, Kid Rock calls Oprah Winfrey a fraud because she endorsed Fetterman. Now, what's interesting, it's simple. He called her a fraud. Called her out on her shit. That's his opinion. Now, what's interesting is Kid Rock is a celebrity. Well, Kid Rock has fuck you money. And when you have fuck you money, you can be honest, right? And here's his quote. Because I don't give a fuck. I'm not in bed with any big corporate things at the end of the day. There's nobody I'm beholden to, no record companies, no corporate interests, no nothing. You can't cancel me. I love it when they try. Now, what's fascinating is, right, he does have that kind of money. Now, who else? Kid Rock, I'm sure he's got a few million. I'm sure of that. Well, we just saw how Kanye West, a.k.a. Yee, right, they're trying to cancel him. They're canceling him out of his, thank you, Jolene. They're canceling Kanye West's, bank accounts, his deals with clothing companies. They're doing all they can to crush him. Now, does Kid Rock have gold and silver? I don't know. Does he have a bank account? I'm sure he does. What protection do you think Republicans and conservatives and libertarians and freedom-loving patriots, what protections do you think they're taking when they've got the kind of money that Kid Rock has or more? Do you think they're leaving their money in these banks? Do you think they're leaving their business contracts open so they can be slammed and destroyed? This country, folks, is getting torn in half right now. Right? And good for Kid Rock for standing up. I am sick and tired of people going, I'm going to disassociate with that company or that group of people. I'm going to that's the word I've heard from the leftists. They're disassociating. It cracks me up, that word, disassociate. I guess that's like, I don't know, that's the nice way to part with people. Disassociate. Right? How about, I'm afraid of someone else getting mad at me because I want to speak freely. It's incredible, folks. It really is what's going on. I'm seeing families disassociate. I'm hearing about that. Families, friends, business associates, they're disassociating. That's the term now. That's the politically correct term for I'm afraid I'm going to lose my money and lose my ass and lose my reputation because I want to have an opinion that doesn't offend anybody. Very interesting. That word keeps popping up. I see it day after day after day. Remember, folks, words mean things. They do. And what do my words mean? They mean I don't give a fuck. I am free, and I'll keep fighting to be free. And I'm not a millionaire. I don't have fuck you money, but I got a lot of fuck you in me, right? Anyways, here we are. Now, it is Sunday Night Live. This is your chance to join the show. And Darcy T checks in with a $50 super chat donation. She says, good evening, John. No question, just sending my thanks. And I got to tell you, I get this from a lot of people. Thanks for what you're doing. It makes me wonder. It really does. Aren't there enough good people out there saying things? I think there are. There really are. What is being a leader? Who is in a leadership position? What is your role? We are engaged in a war over communication, free speech, political direction. We're engaged in a war over finance, military, the legal system, the education system, the social system, the international. Everything is engaged right now. We're all engaged in a war. Every last one of us. Now, here's the thing I want to talk about. Darcy sends her thanks, and I send my thanks back to Darcy and everyone who supports this channel by, well, super chat donations and by sharing that internet address right up there. You share that address, people can watch, right, and learn and wake up. Now, here's my thing, right? Whether or not you like it, you're engaged in this war. Whether or not you choose to fight back, right? If you just like, I'm just going to sit back and be cool and not say anything, all you're doing is allowing yourself to be defeated. That's it. You're allowing yourself to be defeated unless you fight back for what you believe, not for what I believe, but for what you believe. Right? You can't just say, I support John and that's it. You can't just say, I support Trump or Uman or Elon Musk or anybody, right? Louder with Chowder or Joe Rogan. You can't just support someone else and say, you go do the fighting for me, right? There'll be people out front, people way out front, at the front of the charge, but everyone needs to be a part of it in some way. If you do not, right? If you stand up and say, you know what, I'm just going to be quiet and sit back and not say anything, you're going to allow yourself to be run over, right? Because in a war, it doesn't stay in the war zone, especially today. It's a cyber war. It's a power war. It's a food war. It's an electricity war, right? You're going to get run over unless you stand up and start fighting for yourself. And that's what Americans are doing. More than ever, freedom-loving Americans are standing up and fighting back, and that's awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. I want people to fight back, right? Write, call, text, email, fucking carrier pigeons, smoke signals, tying a message to an arrow with a safety point on it, of course, and shooting it towards, anyone who could listen to it. Get the message out, get your word out, share your opinion, make sure you're understood. Right? Make sure your ideas are clear. It's incredible how unintelligible and just opaque the average person is on the street. You go, well, who are you voting for? Well, I'm voting for candidate A. I go, why? They go, I don't know. You sent me some stuff in the mail. Right? It's like, holy shit, you're going to vote for someone based on you don't know anything about them or the subject. I go, well, what do you believe in? Do you believe in freedom? They're like, yeah, I believe in freedom, man. I go, what do you think of censoring free speech? They're like, yeah, censor free speech, man. I'm like, dude, that's the opposite of freedom. I thought you said you're all for freedom. I'm for freedom, man. It's like, then shouldn't we have free speech? Unbelievable. They don't even know. Most people, not you, but most people in America don't know what the hell they stand for. And if they do, they might be unwilling to stand for it because they're afraid of getting canceled. That's the world we live in, folks, but you cannot be afraid anymore. We can't. We have to stand up for ourselves and each other, right? Or we're going to get it. Now, get this, folks. Italy is standing up for itself. I considered this when I read this. I thought, hey, it's Independence Day for Italy. Every day should be Independence Day, folks, in America. Every day should be the 4th of July in spirit. Every day. Independence. Now, get this. Italy is a fully sovereign country. That's what Italy's conservative government says. And they're refusing to allow shiploads full of migrants to land at their docks. Right? These non-government organization ships from other European countries are being told, you don't get to bring those people from around the world and dump them in Italy. Good for Italy, telling them no. It's unbelievable. Who the hell do these NGOs think they are? They're non-government organizations, and they think they can just drag people from one country and dump them in another? As far as I'm concerned, they're creating a humanitarian crisis. Kind of like Biden is creating a humanitarian crisis at the U.S.-Mexican border by allowing the illegals in and then saying, okay, Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California, deal with it. And everyone else around the country, you deal with it because they're getting bussed around and flown all over the place. And so someone like Governor DeSantis down in Florida there puts a bunch of these immigrants on a bus or on planes and ships them to Martha's Vineyard or Washington, D.C. or Chicago or New York City. And those people there start screaming it's a humanitarian crisis. Only because they see those people with their own eyes and go, what the hell are they doing here? Yeah, that's what the rest of America is saying. That's what Italy is saying. They're like, what the hell are those people doing here? Italy is a fully sovereign country. What they're saying, folks, as they say that to the people on the boat, they're also saying, not just to the people on the boat, but to the European Union, way up there in Brussels, they're saying, up yours, Brussels, European Union. You don't get to tell us that we have to accept human debris, the cast-offs from around the world. Hello, Italy, France, Spain, Greece. Greece is sick and tired of it, folks, getting them from the land route through Turkey. Unbelievable. Then they get up into Central and then Northern Europe, and they're just trashing Europe, folks, all the way up into Scandinavia, all the way as far east as, well, why doesn't Ukraine allow these people? Here's an idea. Hey, Zelensky, wake up. Why don't you allow these illegals into your country, Ukraine? Because, you know, the more immigrants you have, the better. Well, then he can conscript them in the military and say, I'll give you full Ukrainian citizenship if you put on a uniform, grab a rusty rifle, and go fight the Russians. And if you live, then you can be a citizen of the great country of Ukraine. Why not? Why not that? What a great idea. You want to be a European? Then go fight for the country that you want to live in. If you're not willing to do that, then stay the hell out. Oh, that would be terrible, wouldn't it? That would be one hell of a question to ask these people, right? Now, I mean, what are they doing to Europe? It's the same thing that's happening right here in America. It's planned destruction. But it's not destruction of some piss-poor, pissant country somewhere around the world, right? Europe, folks, is being forced to deindustrialize as a result of the energy crisis that has been created by their policy. That's right, European policy of no nuclear power, shutting off coal-fired power plants, and then saying to the right Russians, hey man, you guys suck when it comes to the natural gas, and then blowing up the Nord Stream pipelines and then shutting them off everywhere else. That's right, folks. Let's see, if they're not using coal because it's bad, by the way, they're trying to open the coal plants, right? They're trying to shut down their nuclear plants in a lot of countries. Yeah, that's brilliant. Let's two, and then the natural gas plants. Let's screw things up by screwing and pissing off Russia and then blowing up their pipelines. What are they using to create power? Just what is in their domestic means. They're burning the forest, they're burning garbage, and they're burning horse shit to keep their homes warm. And it's only the beginning of November. They're already looking at Europe and saying you're going to have to deindustrialize because of the energy crisis. Does any of this make a lick of sense to anyone? Uman says unicorn farts will save them. They're going to need an awful lot of unicorn farts. Now, I know unicorn farts are very energy rich and energy dense, and they're also carbon free. That's right. Unicorn farts are carbon free, but I don't think they have enough unicorns. I just don't. So a deindustrialized Europe. The biggest powerhouse in Europe is Germany. Now, Italy and France are also very industrial. I mean, they all are, but the biggest muscule is Germany, right? And they're the ones who are relying on the Russian natural gas the most heavily. I tell you, folks. I tell you. deindustrializing the first world economy, the first world union, the European Union. And they're deindustrializing America. We've been doing that on our own, not you and I, but the government, by allowing corporations to export the means of production, to export the intelligence, that is the intellectual property, to China, Indonesia, India. They're sending that know-how and the machinery over there and letting them make products. That is to say, take raw materials and mold them into things of value, and they get the wealth from that. And they ship things back here at a discount, so we get discounted stuff. But how are we paying for it? With dollars coming off the printing press. That's about the only thing we produce, right? Or I should say our number one gross export is cash. Unbelievable. Planned first world destruction. What do you guys want to talk about? Hit that super chat button up there. And I want to say thank you to those who have done the super thanks and other ways to support the channel in the past. Now, there is a huge topic. Russia is warning that the world's 5 biggest nuclear powers are on the brink of, quote, direct armed conflict. I want to ask the question, can you see that? Do you see it? Right, I think we've got the U.S., England, Russia, France and China? Did I miss somebody in there? I think that basically covers it. I think those are the 5 biggest that have nuclear weapons. Direct armed conflict. This has happened in the past, folks. Right? This has happened in the past. This is not new. The super elite screwing with the monetary systems of the world, messing with the economies of the world, causing the economies of the world to crumble. And then they have a huge fight, war. Sometimes it's just between countries, sometimes between geographic regions. And then in the last 2 big ones, right, it has been World War I and II, where everyone in the world was basically at war. Do you see the potential that it is continuing to develop? Well, it really is getting there. And I want to read this report, this little story. Russia says that one of their dams, right? One of their dams, right? The dam is a way to store water. Water is used to produce hydroelectric power, electricity. The water is used or can be used for storage, for farming, for municipal use. That is, cities want to use the water. Would the U.S., the United States government, would it allow a tax on our reservoirs and dam systems that produce electricity and store water for agriculture? Would the United States government allow that? Folks, after 9/11, I went to go do a tour with my kids at the dam at Lake Shasta in California. Below Mount Shasta, this huge, massive, dormant volcano, but it's massive, is Shasta Lake or reservoir. And it's got a huge dam. And we went across the dam and did a tour. All these students get in an elevator and go down through the middle of the dam and see all kinds of cool information. It was very interesting. But they had literally, folks, they had patrol boats. This is years after 9/11, patrol boats out there and lines and warning zones. You will stay away from the dams, right? So people with boats couldn't get close, I guess, and maybe drop explosive charges on the dams. Anyways, the United States government keeps its own people away from their dams. So how would the U.S. feel if another country was shooting missiles? Now, imagine this. Imagine if we were in a war with Mexico, but Russia was sending missiles to Mexico and Mexico was launching those missiles over the border and hitting our dams. Well, Russia says that one of their major dams was hit by a United States government-supplied HIMARS rocket. Right? The Ukraine, folks, which is, I say, CIA-controlled. Ukraine and the CIA, they're making some big moves here against Russia. Dangerous moves. Can you imagine if, well, I know that if Orville Dam, which is, by the way, not a concrete dam, but a gravity dam, an earthen dam, what holds that water back is not very thick concrete, but a massive amount of soil that was placed. Imagine if a big bomb hit a dirt dam like Orville, Lake Orville in Northern California. What flooding would ensue? Or if they cracked and broke, Shasta Dam, that water would also flow down through the Sacramento Valley into the Central Valley and just flood and destroy everything. Why is it okay for Ukraine to try and blow up a massive reservoir of the Russians? Well, John, don't you know that Russia's bombing their infrastructure? And it's like, yeah, I know. I totally get it. There's a war going on. Over here in America, we have a war going on, but it's not one with bombs and missiles and rockets. Instead, it's a war against our society. A war against, and our society, folks, is not LGBTQ. Our society is not CRT, critical race theory. Our society is not the trans movement. Those are tiny, tiny, tiny little groups, special interest groups with special plans. And they're trying to force everyone else to accept their very tiny opinion as some sort of massive groundswell of accepting them and tolerating them and, well, acknowledging them and obeying them. I don't think so. But that's the war we're in, folks. Wars are always fought by a small percentage of people who take up the cause, whether they do it with a piece of paper or a rifle, and they fight. And I'm trying to get you to realize, just as I have to work on myself continually, that's the war we're in, and we're in one right here, right now. I'm watching Russia. I'm watching Ukraine. I'm watching Europe. I'm watching the United States government. And I like to separate and distinguish the United States government from us, the people. We're a much bigger force than that little itty bitty United States government in DC. But I'm watching what the United States government is doing. And there's some reports that right now the U.S. is starting to say, hey, Ukraine, you need to tone it down. You need to back off. You need to start talking about peace. We're getting a little too hot. We want to scare the world, but we don't want to blow it up and irradiate it, you bunch of idiots. Who's in charge? Is it Biden? Is it 90 Proof Nancy? Is it Obama? Is it Hillary? Right? Or is it the World Economic Forum? Who's in charge over there? Who is controlling Ukraine? Who's actually pulling their strings? Or is it just how do we put this? Is it just a helter-skelter mix mash of people throwing money and influence around, trying to get their way? It's hard to say, who is the puppet master, or if there are many masters and they're all yanking on the strings. Crazy, crazy, crazy world we live in. All right, we got a super chat donation I think has been just trying to bust out of its seams. Jolene, who do we want to put up next on the Prepared Mind channel? Pow, it is Boomer21 with a 10 Canadian dollar super chat donation. He said the open borders will eventually cause more home invasions, terrorist attacks, rapes, and murders, especially when the diesel runs out. Hope I'm wrong. Well, I'll tell you what. I hope you're wrong too there, Boomer. But diesel running out is going to cause an incredible, shall we say, painful realization for the entire world. Diesel runs out, there's no shipping with cargo ships. Diesel runs out, there's no trains. And trains move an awful lot of cargo. Diesel runs out and there's no semi-trucks bringing food to your Piggly Wiggly or your Kroger or your Safeway. And for those down in Florida, your Publix supermarkets, your fast food chain, if you eat that stuff, look out. There won't have any. Nope, won't have any there. Diesel runs out, we got big problems. Now, when it comes to open borders, right, they are inviting in all elements. Yes, there's good people coming across the border, and they sure wish they could be Americans, even though they're doing it the wrong way. But there are an awful lot of bad ones. And yeah, one bad apple ruins the whole bunch. Yeah, that's the way it works. So get back across that frickin' border. But they're not. They're being allowed to stay here. And we're already seeing home invasions. We're seeing terrorist attacks. We're hearing about the awful reality of people, women being raped by these illegals because their culture, they don't give a shit. And then, of course, murders. Robberies, murders, rapes. That's just fine. This is why the Democrats are losing, folks, in the polls, by the way. Why I think 85% of America says we're going in the wrong direction. We don't like what's happening. That means there's an awful lot of Democrats saying we don't like what's happening and we're going in the wrong direction, but you're still going to vote Democrat? Are you that fucking stupid? Most of them are. Most of them are. Once again, who the hell would vote for Festerman besides a computer that's told to do it, or a dead person, or a dog? Right? It's already happening. I'm sad to say, Boomer, that so many people are being hurt and attacked. It's sad to say. We've got just 2 days before this election. 2 days. Are you going to vote? Are you going to sound off? Are you going to make a difference? Are you going to step up? Are you going to do your part? Right? Do you feel like you have a part to play? Well, get this. While we're waiting for the next super chat donation, and we have 425 people here live right now. That is way more than President Biden gets. And we're at 1 hour in, folks. 1 hour. And we can sustain and hold an audience of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. Now, when Joe Biden won back in 2020, the very first thing he did was kill the Keystone Pipeline. Kill our energy importation from Canada that helped maintain low energy costs, high standard of living, low cost living, and energy independence from the rest of the world by trading with our closest ally and partner, Canada. Right? Canada was really helping America out with this, folks. And they're still helping America out, more so than the mainstream media tells us, more so, right, than we know and realize as average Americans. But the very first thing Biden did was cut that pipeline, stop it, crush it, tie it in a freaking knot, kill it forever. And then kill other means of energy exploration, development, right? The permitting process killed. Offshore, onshore, done. That's what Biden has done, folks. Now, I say, look out. Biden just promised this weekend that after the election, after it's done, he's going after the coal industry. The coal industry, folks. I don't think you, me, and the whole world understand the impact. And I'm pretty well versed in it. And I still don't think I can understand the total impact of killing the coal industry. Now, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Democrat Joe Manchin, has been going after and arguing and fighting with the Democrats over this political direction they're going in, because the state of West Virginia is essentially supported by their coal industry. It's huge, right? It's huge. That is a huge part of West Virginia, supplying coal, energy, right? All of our, not all of them, but many, I would say a great majority of our power plants are coal. Coal, natural gas, and nuclear in America. That's what keeps the lights on, folks. If he kills coal, what do you think is going to happen to our energy costs? Just like Europe, up, 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 and up. And then, well, Jolene is suffering today from what? She's completely suffering from power outages in California. Why? It's not the coldest part of the year yet, and California is not even cold yet. California, especially down in the Central Valley and Bay Area, and south of that even, they don't get cold until January, February, and it's not even a biting, freezing cold. Oh, they get it down into the 50s and 40s. Maybe. Look out, folks. Biden is already promising to attack coal. After the election, folks, expect an energy attack phase 2 coming from these Democrats and these globalist scum. Also expect a bio attack phase 2 with more Jim Jones juice demands by governments around the country. It got let out this weekend that in Illinois, Governor Pritzker plans after the election to force children to take the Jim Jones juice. Why? It's not anywhere to be seen. No one has it. It's not a big deal. And we're going to force children to take the Jim Jones juice? Unbelievable. The First Amendment attacks we've been dealing with. Oh, you're not allowed to talk about the Nintendo game. Oh, that's a threat to U.S. security. That's a threat to the nation. Anyone having free speech and talking about the game of Nintendo that happens Tuesday night and the results of the Nintendo game, you're not allowed to argue, debate, question. That First Amendment attack, folks, it's coming. After Tuesday, expect it to get even worse because they're going to say, see, look what these Republicans are doing. They're causing people to be concerned and scared, and they're questioning the results of a free and fair Nintendo game. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Forcing children to get cerveza bug experimental injections. How does that make a lick of fucking sense? But then again, we're talking about Democrats, and I think they've lost their minds. Now, what's interesting is I've had it reported to me from across the country, around the country, and indeed around the world that these people, they're so out of their minds that they believe everything their leaders are telling them. They believe that after this election, Republicans are going to just start killing them. They literally believe that Republicans and patriots and libertarians and freedom-minded people are violent. I'm just looking around going, who are they talking about? All the Republicans that aren't killing people, all the Republicans that aren't shooting people, all the Republicans that aren't running people over in crowds and at parades with their cars? Those Republicans that aren't punching people at political rallies, those Republicans that aren't pushing people onto train tracks, those Republicans that aren't raping people on subway trains, those Republicans that aren't doing home invasion robberies, those Republicans that aren't attacking and burning their opponents' political headquarters, those Republicans that aren't sending poison through the mail, like ricin, white powdered substances, those Republicans that aren't doing any of those things, those are the ones that the Democrats are truly worried about, folks. And they're completely ignoring their people on their side that are doing those things for real. Unbelievable. After this election, folks, expect phase 2, wave 2 by Biden, Nancy, Chuck, and all the Democrat governors and all the Democrat mayors. Expect the attacks to come from mainstream media, social media, and school unions. Expect it, folks. It's coming. Just a little prediction from the prophet of prepping. Not that I know anything, folks. It's there for all of us to see. All of us. Now, I know you guys have some stuff you want to talk about, so let's get it up on the board. We got a super chat donation. And Jolene, it is Johnny Freedom Seed. He is now a YouTube member. Thank you, Johnny Freedom Seed. Been around a long time. I've been a big part of the show. Thank you, Johnny. Hope all is well. And we've got Nomadic Times with a $4.99 super chat donation, keeping us on the air and live. Thank you, Nomadic Times. Another new name that has popped up here. And then we have it. That's right. It is none other than Cottage Farm with a $50 super chat donation. And she says this: we all have to be prepared to continue our resolve after we win. She's talking about Tuesday night's Nintendo game. Diversity, equity, inclusion, as well as ESG, which is environmental social governance. It is embedded in every institution, and we fight on. I tell you what, yeah, diversity, equity, and inclusion. That sure sounds magnanimous, does it not? I tell you, Shell. I tell you, Cottage Farm. Yeah, it sure sounds nice, doesn't it? Diversion, equity, and inclusion. Okay, diversity means diverse, a variety of. How about competency? Why do we want diversity? Why not competency? And then the word equity means fairness. Life ain't fair. Life is not fair. Equity, right? How about equality? Equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. Fairness seeks equality of outcome. Equality, folks, says, right, equal opportunity. So they want diversity and fairness. So they want, right, you're starting to see where they're at. And inclusion. Inclusion means having people in there who you normally wouldn't because they don't fit. Right? These fruitcakes out here. You know who I'm talking about. The fruitcakes, the wackos, the terminal ding-dongs, like the one who went to visit Paul Pelosi. And again, I'm not feeling sorry for them for 1 second. Do you think for a second that Paul Pelosi didn't put himself in a situation with this Marxist nudist fruitcake from Berkeley? Hey, come on over to my house. Let's party. We'll play with our hammers and put them places. Bunch of fruitcakes. Yeah. Oh, I don't know why everything went bad. I mean, you mix drugs, alcohol, and political retardation. It's bound to turn out right. Yeah. So diversity, equity, and inclusion, including fruitcakes, people with mental illness. You know what? I decided this morning when I woke up that I'm a fire hydrant. I woke up this morning, decided I can fly, so I'm going to go to the top of the nearest building and jump off and show the world. Why don't they do that and do us all a favor? Instead of, well, I woke up this morning and decided that even though I have a penis, I'm a woman. And I'm going to wear dresses and makeup and grow a beard anyways. And then I'm going to wear high heels, but I'm not going to shave my legs. And inclusion. I don't see any reason to include people who have lost their fucking minds. If you have lost your mind, you should seek help. And I'm being genuine. Seek help. And the sad part, folks, is that the people who can offer that help, many, if not most of them, in the world of psychiatry, where they mix drugs and fucking with people's heads, they're telling them that they're just fine. So you're suicidal and you are confused about your gender. I'm going to give you some more drugs and then tell you you're doing fine. Charge $300 an hour and send them on their way with some nice SSRIs. Unbelievable. Now, ESG is something a little bit different. I want to thank Cottage Farm for bringing this topic up. Environmental social governance, right? The environment is not for big business and investments, right, to prescribe, right? There is no business out there anywhere, folks, that says polluting the world is a good idea and we're going to do it. Because we have this thing called the Environmental Protection Agency in the United States of America. And other countries have their own versions of this. Every country except, I think, China. Yeah, China. That's right. China doesn't have much of an environmental protection agency. But here in America, we have the EPA. So if you're polluting, guess what? They come in, They see that you're polluting the environment and they shut you down. They fine the shit out of you. They make you clean up your mess. So why do we need investment and banking and big business punishing everyone else? Because, well, the environmental social governance. In other words, let's move the letters around, right? Instead of putting environmental first, which everyone thinks is just fucking grand, why don't we put the word social, the S, out front? And then instead of putting the E next, how about governance? Social governance using the environment as its power. SGE would be a better way to put it, right? But not social, right? Just social isn't good enough. How about social media governing business using environment as an excuse for shutting down and punishing those they don't like? Well, everyone except China. And then using inside the boardrooms diversity, equity, and inclusion to pack the most incompetent, incapable, and insane people to run the businesses under an ESG model, which isn't the most productive, and in my opinion, probably pollutes more than non. People seem to believe that all these electric vehicles, they're so clean. Well, instead of burning, gasoline, you're now burning coal. That's right. And in order to create all of these great super high powered batteries, you've got to do some incredible mining. And some areas around the world do not subscribe to the best environmental practices in order to create these battery materials that they then ship over to America once put into a battery form and make everyone feel like they're doing a great job. Right? I'm not saying that, electric vehicles aren't a really cool idea, but is it sustainable? Is it environmentally friendly? A lot of questions that we're going to be asking as these idiots in Washington and Brussels and Davos, Switzerland continue to screw at us. Unbelievable, folks. Now, back to politics. 2 days until the election. 2 days until the big Nintendo game. And this crazy lunatic bitch claims that states with the highest crime levels are run by Republicans. This lady's completely full of shit. Hillary Clinton. That's really what Hillary Clinton is claiming right now, folks. Let's see. Baltimore. The city is run by Democrats. And Maryland is a state run by Democrats. We've all heard that Baltimore wants to beat Chicago as the crime capital of North America, the United States of America. Chicago is run by Larry Lightfoot Beetlejuice. That is one ugly bitch. And folks, I'm not talking about her outward looks. I mean ugly to the bone. Racist. Ugly to the bone. Right? Chicago, Democrat. Illinois, run by a guy named Prickster. I mean, could you get a bigger lard ass pile of shit leftist Democrat? California has, Oakland, San Francisco, Los Angeles. Who runs that state? Democrats. Governor Newsom. Gruesome Newsom. This clown. This joker. Unbelievable. Folks, you like dystopian movies? Mad Max, Escape from New York? We've got the real life version of it combined with idiocracy. Washington State has Portland. Who runs that state? Who runs that city? Right? I'm sorry, Oregon. And then Washington also with SeaTac. Right? And the state of Washington, was it Governor Inslee, the moron? New York, the mayor of New York City, an incredible exploding issue of crime, Democrat. Governor Hochul of New York State, which is Democrat because of New York City. Yeah, Governor Hochul, right, got her ass kicked by mainstream media this weekend. They're tired of the lies. Even mainstream media is so disgusted, right? It just reminds me of a great many jokes where the punchline is, and the people were so disgusted with what they were doing, they had to stop. Right, even the media is like, we're pushing these lies and look at the destruction. Well, good. The mainstream media needs to eat a big fat plate of the stinking shit they've been selling everyone. Are you prepared? Unbelievable. All right, we got some super chat donations, and we're at 435 people live right now. And that's really good considering it's daylight savings time. How many people are like, what time is the show? What time is it out there? Here we go. Okay, we had, what do we got, Jolene? We got Nomadic Times with another super chat donation of $1.99. Thank you, Nomadic Times. Woo! And then we have NPNY 1970, and we're all over the board with explosions. He's got a $4.99 super chat. He says, I think there's a chance the unelected ghoul will not get reelected here in New York. He's talking about Governor Hochul, the ghoul. He says, I just hope nobody unplugs the Nintendo system when they're losing. That's right. Unbelievable. Yeah, we have a Nintendo game that's going to be fired up Tuesday. I don't know if these people on the left are going to have enough of an ability to cheat at playing Nintendo. Their own people are so discouraged that they don't want to come out and vote. And all they have, folks, remember their platform, the political platform for the left is get an abortion, cut off your nutsack, cut off your boobies, and go to a drag show, and no more gas, and pay more for food, pay more for healthcare, pay more for, well, everything. And send your kids to school to be brainwashed. I keep running into these young people, and there's good ones out there, folks, but it's the bad ones that leave a real big impression. Twice today, I had to explain things 4 or 5 times to some 20-year-old, shall we say, business associates in the retail world. One guy, he was like, how do you spell that? And I said it several times, and he kept mixing the letters up. I'm like, dude, just as I say the letters, type them in one at a time, and it was incredible. And then another guy, he was like, I don't know how this messed up. The computer's always messing things up. I'm like, all you got to do is, take the thing and then beep, 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 beep. It's like, why are you charging me double? What are you doing? Unbelievable. Anyways, NPNY 1970. I think there's a chance the unelected ghoul will not get reelected. It's a strong statement. A lot of people, in New York, right, there's a big push to elect the Republican candidate because the ghoul, Governor Hochul, who was not elected but appointed after, dipshit, right, was forced to resign. You can't do what you're doing and destroying the world and destroying America and expect the people to continue to vote for it. But they're continuing to tell them, you have to vote for us or Republicans are going to kill you. That's really where they're at, folks. And will they unplug the system? Will they have an accident? Right? Last time we were really treated to some incredible bullshit. Well, the election counting arena flooded. There was a pipe broke, and so we had to shut down the count. They made up that story about the pipes breaking. This is I think in Atlanta, and so they said everything is shut down. They sent people out, and then they smuggled a bunch of Nintendo games in the back door and started playing Nintendo all night. And when the machines came back on, Joe Biden won at Nintendo. And this happened repeatedly around the country. Another big place, Arizona. Arizona, 2 years later, is still fighting. Still fighting. And the Rhino Republicans in Arizona are still pretending to be Republicans and still fighting to hide all of the crime that has been committed over that Nintendo game from 2 years ago. Incredible, folks. Absolutely incredible. Now, right, Jason Whitlock went on Tucker Carlson's show, and he went there and he says, quote, Nancy Pelosi spent her money on a pair of cans and all her husband wants to do is play hide the hammer. Right? Right? It's unbelievable what the left thinks of their own people and us. Right? They want to play their sick, perverted games while the rest of us suck up to them and kiss their ass and believe their lies. Unbelievable. But yeah, the satire is dripping. But the worst part of that is the worst part of it is that as bad as it is, right? Meaning you and I can see it. Everyone can see it, but nothing can be done about it. Right? We know these people are liars and they're trying to destroy the country, but why can't something be done about it? Why can't something be done to stop it? Is Biden that powerful? Is Nancy that powerful? Is Obama that powerful? Why can't they be stopped? Why are they allowed to destroy the economy, destroy the country, destroy everything, destroy the monetary system? Look out, folks. All righty, let's do this. I think we got another super chat donation. We're at 1 hour and 20 minutes into the show, meaning we've got 40 minutes left, folks. We do 2 hours on Sunday Night Live. I know daylight savings, we're at fall back, but hey, folks, we need to fall back on freedom. We don't need to be progressive into the future and sell ourselves out. Anyways, William C. checks in with a $5 super chat donation. He says, global warming was created by elites who know that energy resources are running low. Cutting off our fossil fuels will leave more for the rich to enjoy. Well, that's an interesting take on it. Well, there's only so much oil and so much energy out there. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that what is left is ours. Now, that sounds plausible. That sounds like something they would do in order to ensure that they, the rich, can live and live well today, tomorrow, next year, in 10 years, in 50 years, in 100 years. Their offspring will still have access to oil, right? Kerosene, diesel, gasoline, while the rest of us are what? Resorting back to living on what? Now, what's interesting is we do have the technology, folks, right now. We have the ability to create massive amounts of energy, electricity, through the use of advanced nuclear reactors that are, the designs they have now are far safer. They shut themselves down. They can work without the power grid supporting them. It's incredible. But that's being withheld. They want to make us suffer incredibly bad. They want to cut us off of everything, right? Take us from full down to almost nothing and then give us a little bit back. But the rich will always take care of themselves. The rich always have. The powerful always have ensured that they've got it better than everyone else. And it was years ago that I said, you know what I think the problem is with these elites? The problem is they don't like that we have been living almost as well as them, right? Royalty. Well, we have houses, they have houses. Theirs are a little bigger, so what? We have running water, we have heat, we have air conditioning, we have refrigerators, freezers, televisions, computers, internet. We have everything they have. We get on the same planes as they do. They sit in first class, and we have to walk by, and they have to see all the commoners. Yeah, folks, it's that ugly. It truly is that ugly with these people. They hate us. Now, a big part of this, folks, is that the elites that think they're elite, they can be destroyed in a minute. right? The big guy, Biden, the Biden cartel, they can be robbed of their wealth very quickly. They're useful idiots, right? He's announcing he's going to shut down coal plants, all right, across America. He says General Motors is going to be all electric by 2035. Well, if now, number one, there's not enough battery material to make all the General Motors cars electric. There's not enough battery materials. They don't have enough material to make batteries for all those cars, period. But if they did, how are you going to power them if you shut down the coal plants? Right? The consequences of this move are incredibly stupid. The threat that Joe is making is incredibly stupid. He did kill the Keystone Pipeline, folks. He will go after and kill coal. Even though it sounds like the most ridiculous and stupid thing that could be done, what exactly have these guys been doing, if not the most ridiculous, the most stupid things ever? It is truly unbelievable. Well, it is, folks. Again, it is Sunday Night Live. If you got a super chat donation, there's a button up there, and that is how you get your question on the screen down below. And let's talk about it. What you want to talk about. This is your show. Now, Biden, that's right. He is the leader of the Democrat Party. He is the president of the United States. He got lost and confused again the other day and had to be led as if he were a doddering fool. And he is, folks, a doddering fool. He's attacked. He went after this weekend and attacked Elon Musk and Twitter, right? And he says that, Musk is the bad guy, right? Elon Musk, because he bought Twitter, which is an outfit that, quote, spews lies all across the world. Well, wait a moment, right? Wait a moment. Twitter has stopped Republicans from talking and has forced everyone to accept their notion of reality and truth, the left-wing story. And so is Biden attacking Elon Musk and slamming him and making fun of him and saying, well, you bought an outfit that spews left-wing lies all across the world. Unbelievable, folks, right? From lies, let's hope that Twitter becomes at least a free speech platform and let the people decide what is true and what is not. Unbelievable that Biden would say, yeah, you bought something that spews lies, and the only thing that comes out of Twitter is left-wing nonsense. I'm still waiting for it to be free, folks. I'm still waiting for it to be free. Now, this was awful. Absolutely awful. At the University of Illinois, Professor Sundiata Cha-Jua, he attacked black Republicans. And he called Herschel Walker, quote, coonish and, quote, subliterate, and suggested that black Republicans are actually, quote, MAGA black white supremacists, end quote. I am really sick of these people. They, folks, are mentally deranged and they are awful. Instead of an intellectual debate, they want to do ad hominem attacks, right? Attack the man and not the message. I believe Herschel Walker has been campaigning in Georgia. Campaigning, right, to represent Georgians. It's incredible to me that Sundiata Cha-Jua is a professor at the University of Illinois, and he's allowed to say these things, right? To make the accusation. The word disgusting was used to describe this. I don't know why this guy is allowed. I don't know why he's allowed given tenure. Why? What is he teaching? I mean, how intelligent is he? And to suggest and make the accusation that if you're a black Republican, that you're a white supremacist. the people I know that are black, they're just normal people. There's none of this white supremacy, there's none of that shit. What is the deal with it? It's just very frustrating for me to continue to see this coming out of the left-wing lunatics up north. Right? They're not just unprofessional. They're not just race baiting. They're engaging in awful conduct that is going to have a very negative effect on racial relations. Not because the black Republicans are going to do something bad. I think the left-wing lunatics out there, they're the ones committing the crimes. They're the ones attacking people based on race because they're being encouraged by people like this jackass professor. They're the ones pushing people off of the subway platforms onto the tracks. They're the ones committing crimes against whites and Asians and other blacks because they don't like them, because they're Republican or they think they're Republican. And to be a black Republican isn't as rare as it used to be. It's becoming quite common. Same with the Hispanic community. In fact, some jackass in the Democrat Party, and this was in Nevada. Well, if Nevada flips, it's because of the Hispanic community. That's right, folks. The Democrats, they're going to go right out and just attack and accuse everyone they can. Right? There is a polling institution that came out and said it's not going to be a red wave. Nah. Tuesday's Nintendo game, it's not going to be a red wave. It's going to be a red tsunami. Now, of course, some of these polling institutions, they're not taking into account all of the cheating that is going to occur. You factor in the cheating, it'll probably be a red wave, not a red tsunami. But where they're not cheating, where they don't have their energy and power focused, some places are going to be unbelievably off the hook red. Unbelievably. Okay, let's do this. We're at 90 minutes in. Let's do a super chat donation and comment. Who is it? It's Mr. Skylight checking in with a $49.99 super chat donation. Making America great again. Making America first. Right? The nationalist country. Our country comes first in our country. If you're in another country, your country comes first to you. But in America, we should take care of us first and then help the world, right? Anyways, Mr. Skylight checks in. And he says, Martin Armstrong said on USA Watchdog that neither party is going to accept the outcome of these fraudulent Nintendo games. The remote viewers are also predicting trouble. Folks, they're, remote viewing. We brought this topic up here. Remote viewing is an incredible, legitimate metascience, right? The scientific practice of using psychic skill is what remote viewing is about. It's very interesting to study it and to look into it. I do not use remote viewing to make my predictions, but remote viewers do quite a good job. The government uses it. Yes, they do. And now, just by examining information, we can see and guess that, well, wherever the Republicans lose, they're going to be very pissed off. And wherever the Democrats lose, they're going to be very pissed off. And in both cases, they will not accept the results, especially if they're close, especially if they're a close race. Now, we are 22 years away from the closest race ever for a national office, and that was the 2000 election between George W. Bush and Al Gore, the idiot. Right? It was dummy versus dummy back then. And it came down, down there in Florida. They were hand counting ballots, trying to interpret the will of the voters because of dimpled cards. And that's when they pushed and really pushed for electronic voting machines. But they had hanging chads. right? Dimpled cards. Is it a pregnant vote, right? Was the paper kind of dented a little bit so it seemed like it was pregnant? I mean, they went and looked at a couple of thousand votes trying to swing it one way or the other. You know, there's some great pictures out there. Some guy like holding one up through a microscope or trying to determine what was the voter trying to do. Unbelievable, folks. That's when we had a very close presidential election. And since then, we have had and been treated to close election after close election as more and more of these voting machines have been used. Technology has failed to make voting more fail-safe, more foolproof, and instead made it more suspicious. Some idiot was arrested because he showed up and plugged in a USB device into a voting machine. Now I'm thinking, why the hell is there an open USB port on a voting machine somewhere? I thought that wasn't supposed to be possible. Oh, no, wait, no, they're not supposed to be hooked up to the internet. Well, apparently they can be screwed with, duped with, programmed. They can flip votes, all kinds of reports out there, and we don't know the truth. Why? Because they won't tell us, because they want to continue to lie about it. It is incredible what we should expect. And thank you, Mr. Skylight, for the awesome support that you've been showing us over the months and years. Now, Leo Hohmann wrote an article and said that Biden's speech about the threats to democracy are an ominous warning. And they don't come really from Biden, but from his puppet masters at the World Economic Forum. And Leo Hohmann says the narrative has been set for election chaos and political violence. Literally, folks, election chaos and political violence. Now, I think I 100% agree. I don't think, though, that there's going to be violence and chaos everywhere, but I think there's going to be chaos within the system. We have government operatives who are coming out and claiming that they've been trained and authorized to behave in ways that are completely foreign to a free and fair Nintendo game. I'm ready for Tuesday, folks. An incredible amount of stupid coming out of states like Pennsylvania. I mean, what part of I can't fucking believe this, right? Is America ready to swallow when it comes to Pennsylvania? They've got a guy, Fetterman, running for Senate in Pennsylvania, who is out of his mind. Who's the other one? Tim Ryan, out of his mind. The Democrats don't like him. But they're running these candidates, and Fetterman, he's unbelievable. He can't even read a teleprompter. They're not even calling it a teleprompter. They're saying it's a captioning machine, right? Okay, so you're telling him what to say? Right? And he can't even read it, and that's their candidate. That's the best they can do. And the other guy is so corrupt that, the Democrats are like, we got to get this guy out of here. He's, unbelievable. New York, Kathy Hochul, the ghoul. And in Michigan, you have Whitmore up there. They're just lying their asses off, and that I don't even know where to begin, folks. Except I think I know how this is going to end. And it's not going to end well. It's what you and I call SHTF. All right. Let's do this. Let's do another Super Chat donation as we move on through the evening. And we got Bonnie Blue 2A with a $19.99 Super Chat donation. This is incredible. Tuesday is a full moon and total lunar eclipse also. Expect plenty of lunatics in the streets upset about whatever the legacy media tells them. Stay safe, watch your six, and no be there, Daniel-san. I tell you, Yeah, I almost forgot to mention that this thing about the moon. It's going to be full. What that means is there's going to be a lot of moonlight. The sun is down. There's a lot of light. Now, the term lunatics, right? Lunatics. It came from a time before electricity. People couldn't really go out at night, especially before street lamps were very common, being fueled with kerosene. The lunatics would come out at night because the moon put a lot of light out, and of course they would be up to no good. What we've got Tuesday is the legacy media, the mainstream media. They want to come out and tell everybody, right? Oh my God, the Republicans are stealing the Nintendo game. The Republicans, they're going to come around, once they have power, they're going to kill everyone. They're going to overturn Roe v. Wade. Wait a minute, they already overturned Roe v. Wade. They're going to, what else is there left? Oh my God, they're going to open up the fuel plants and start pumping oil again. This is terrible. I will not be out on the streets. I will be watching my six. I will be staying safe. I hope you are as well. Once again, folks, I live in a pretty good area. Pretty good area. It is, believe it or not, a majority. I looked at the voter rolls and I looked and thought, yep, there are more registered Republicans here than Democrats. It's good to live in that type of an area. We're in big trouble, though, come Tuesday. This game of Nintendo, I think, is going to be off the hook. As written about, you guys are talking about it, right? Everything's being set up. The politicians, they're getting their people set to go bonkers in the streets. Bonkers in the streets. They're getting it set up. Now, here's an example of the mental stability. Now, I think everybody has seen the picture of the crying girl who was complaining that she lost her job with Twitter because Elon Musk fired her. And it was, quote, the best job ever. These people are crazy. She had a tweet just a few days earlier that said, quote, I hate it here. This is typical liberal mental disorder, psychobabble, biatch bullshit. Expect all of that to come out on election night. After the Nintendo game is over, expect a whole lot more of that. I really do expect a lot of it. These people are unstable, right? Best job ever. I hate it here. And guess what she was? She was in human resources, HR. And I looked and I said, well, she looks like she's somewhere between 20 and 25. Now, in order to be in human resources, you would think that you would have to have a degree of some sort, but you've got to have some business experience, time in grade to understand the relationship between men and women and older and younger, and have some experience dealing with conflict resolution, HR, because you're fixing problems. How do you hire somebody who's been in the world working for 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, when you haven't been working for more than 2 or 3, and you're going to look at someone's resume and determine whether or not they're qualified for a job that you can't even spell because you're some dim-witted college nitwit who took a job and got an HR job? Unbelievable. Anyways, they're nuts. Jolene, we got some super chat donations. Let's take a look and see what you guys want to talk about. It is, after all, your show. And we got Vincent Boyle with 10 pounds. And he says, just to say thank you for your hard work. Thank you, Vincent Boyle. This weekend, I spent time in the marshy, jungly, mangrove swamps, putting some time in, getting bit by, no-see-ums. That was pretty good. So it's hard work here at the Prepared Mind desk. It's hard work out there. It's hard training. Folks, life is hard. I hope you're getting in good shape. Thank you, Vincent Boyle, very much. From Belfast, Ireland. Vincent Boyle, if it's 7:41 my time, it's probably 12:41 for Vincent. And he's up every day with the Prepared Mind crowd, chit-chatting, staying current, letting us know what's going on over in you say Ireland, but also he's pretty close to the continent, Europe. And so he can get us news and opinion and thoughts that we can't get from here because we are sheltered. And it's amazing. I'm sure that in Ireland, you're being sheltered from news in England and Europe by the Irish government that wants you to believe what they want you to believe. You know, just like up in Canada, people in Canada are shielded from American opinions. And down here in America, we're shielded from Canadian opinions. We saw Canada's opinions, did we not? Canada's opinions was, we don't like Justin Trudeau. But if you watch the news, they'll tell you how much he's loved. Not really, folks. Not really. All right, Jolene, who do we have up next? We have Bonnie Blue, two-way with another $19.99 Super Chat donation. She says, there are deceiving ballot measures on the state level. Do your homework at the state level before voting and do not believe the brief description of proposed measures on the ballots. There are nefarious agendas being hidden. And this is awful. As far as I'm concerned, Bonnie Blue, I think what you just described should be made criminal. When I was in California, I saw an awful lot of that. Ballot measures. It would say things like, this is a ballot measure to lower taxes. And when you read the legislation or the criticism of the legislation, it says this will actually increase taxes. But it's being sold to and called a tax decrease. Right? They will call something the children's protection legislation. But when you read the legislation, it will actually put children more at risk by saying, well, it's going to require the Jim Jones juice. Right? Things like that. Those are examples of, they make it sound really good, but when you read it, it's actually, I think, nefarious is probably generous. I think that's a generous way to describe their agenda. Nefarious, I look at them as downright evil. And it's not just California or New York or Illinois. All states have this sort of legislative agenda where they want the people to vote, right? When you get a chance to vote on referendums, yeah. It's because, folks, evil is everywhere. It truly is. Evil is everywhere. Democrats are everywhere. Rhino Republicans are everywhere, and they literally pretend to be good people. They pretend to be conservative. They say conservative words, but when you see finally their actions, you realize, holy shit, these people are not conservative. They are not for freedom. They're not for liberty. They're just saying those words to get close to you and influence you. And then you find out they support shit like that. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. But believe it, it's real. Bonnie Blue has a great point, and it continues. And folks, even with Republicans winning the House, even with Republicans winning the Senate, and even if in 2 years a Republican wins and becomes president, we're still going to have at the state level these types of lies. And lawyers in Washington, D.C. will continue to write legislation, even for Republicans, that's going to sound like it's really good for us, but in truth, it's going to be shit. It's going to cost us more money, take more of our liberties and more of our freedom, and ruin this country. Now, we need to expose everyone out there that needs to be exposed, that are doing these evil things. I'm not doing anything evil sitting here in this chair talking to you guys. I'm saying wake up, think for yourself, vote for freedom and liberty. That's all I say. Well, Elon Musk has come out and said, guess what? There's going to be, quote, thermonuclear naming and shaming because advertisers are leaving Twitter because of liberal groups pressuring them. I think that's great. I want to see more of this. Woke penalties coming. Shame, shame. Right? They've been trying to shame us for years. Oh, you're trying to destroy the world with your diesel trucks. You're trying to destroy the world with your SUVs. You're trying to destroy the world because, well, you live too well. You know, as they tell us we need to eat bugs and impossible meat. So I hope Elon Musk does this. And I'm not looking at him as a savior type, folks. I'm looking at him as creating, well, the understanding of the importance of free speech. Free speech is important. It allows us to discuss things that make liberals uncomfortable because they're exposed. And so shame on them, right? I want thermonuclear naming and shaming on these left-wing corporations, advertisers. You know, it's for them, it's all about, well, making money and screwing everyone else. All right, let's do this. Another super chat donation. We're closing in, folks. We're closing down to the last 10 minutes. And then the week starts, folks. It's Miss Marilyn with a $20 super chat donation with a super sticker. Thank you for that, Miss Marilyn. Your support makes this channel work. How? There's just no other way to put it. Without you guys, there's no one to talk to. Right? There isn't. With you guys, we can reach the world in America, well, in Ireland, right? In Europe, in Asia, in Australia, around the world. The Prepared Mind Channel Network, our discussions and topics go out. Not to make people believe us with our, mystical mind control powers, but to have them question their own reality, the reality that they're being presented with, and to inspire people to do their own research and their own thinking, right? Now, if everyone in America listened to mainstream media, they wouldn't do what happened here. And that was that Joe Biden, Let's Go Brandon, showed up in Joliet, Illinois. And Trump supporters showed up screaming, "Let's go, Brandon," and harassed the shit out of them because they're not buying the story. They're not buying the nonsense. And Biden, folks, basically verbally attacked Americans back and said, quote, "Give me a break. What idiots." Folks, the violence is coming. Republicans have had it with this shit. And the Democrats are afraid that we're going to be violent. And so they are going to become violent or more violent. I was talking with Uman earlier. And I don't think we're going to have the type of violence we had in 2020, which happened before the election. That violence was the summer of love. BLM out, mass protests. Antifa was out in mass protests. I think the violence we're going to see is going to be different. I think we will see some groups maybe here and there, but I think the attacks and the violence are going to be isolated by individuals losing their shit. And remember that people like Mad Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi, they encourage people on the individual level to stop others from promoting freedom and liberty, being conservative. She didn't say, as a group, go out and, stop people and attack people. No, it was just go out, everyone act. And that's a big part of the CRT, critical race theory, is being an anti-racist, which means on an individual level, if you see something you don't like, you need to get in someone's face. But they're pushing the violence, folks. Now, they're, of course, accusing you and people like you of being the violent ones when we are not. But will you allow yourself to be violently attacked? I think that's a serious question we all need to consider. Will you allow yourself to be violently attacked? Right? What if someone isn't violently attacking you, but they are screaming at you from 10 feet away or 20 feet away? What will you do? Will you shout back or will you walk away? What if they go from shouting and screaming at you to shouting and screaming at you from 10 feet away instead of 20? What will you do then? What if their annoying shouting as they get closer becomes more violent with threats? What if they get within just a few feet of you? What action will you take to protect yourself, your spouse, your children, your family, your friends? At what point do you see these radical idiots acting violently and like deranged lunatics, threatening you and then coming very close to you. A lot of these left-wing fruitcakes use chemical substances, anything from pepper spray to literally throwing battery acid on people, as well as assaulting them with weapons. Right? How close do they have to get to deploy or throw, right? Weaponize a caustic or acidic substance? Not to mention they throw urine and feces on people. I mean, in order to do that, you got to plan. Well, tonight I'm going to go out and I'm going to throw feces and urine. Tonight I'm going to go out and throw battery acid or use, pepper spray. The other one that's out there that people aren't really worrying about or talking about too much is something like hornet and wasp spray. That shit will shoot 20 to 30 feet through the air. It's pretty nasty stuff. If it can kill a bug, I don't think you're going to want it in your nose and your eyes and your mouth. Anyways, we've got some stupidity coming. I think it's going to be a lot of brazen, upset idiots out there looking to make trouble. So we're running out of time in this show, but we still have more super chats coming in. Pow, and they want to talk. It's Cottage Farm. And with the $50 super chat donation, she says, yes, we have to pay attention after the Republicans are elected. We've got to hold them to America first. I agree to that. Right? When we get these Republicans in power as the majority, we need to demand that we have leadership change. McCarthy didn't do anything, folks. Kevin McCarthy, Republican, California, the leader of the House Republicans, he hasn't done a damn thing to make the Republicans a stronger force. Joe Biden weakened the Democrats and pissed off us, me, you, the voters, right? McCarthy, give me a freaking break. We need a vote of no confidence in him and to bring in others and then hold them responsible and make America first our priority, our country, our energy, our education, our laws, our military. It all needs to be fixed to stop people like Joe Biden from destroying it. And Nancy Pelosi. Yes, I agree. When Republicans are elected and put in power, we need to get rid of the Turtles McConnell. Right? Senator Mitch McConnell needs to be just ousted out of his leadership role. He is a washed up has-been around too long, no good for nothing, ass-kissing loser. And he doesn't deserve to be, again, the leader of the Senate. Doesn't deserve it, hasn't earned it. We need America put first. Not, I got a bunch of stocks in Chinese corporations and they're paying millions of dollars a year into my private bank accounts, so I'm going to just do everything I can to allow that to continue. Sorry. And yes, we do need to hold the Democrats accountable and start impeaching the living shit out of them and getting them convicted. There need to be, folks, not just investigations, but prosecutions for these crimes. Thank you, Cottage Farm, for bringing up that topic. Who is next, Jolene? We've got Boomer21. Once again, stepping up with a Canadian $5 super chat donation. He says, even if we do get a nice red tsunami, will not Brandon, Joe Biden, just veto everything? The answer is, yeah, he would love to veto everything, man. That would be right up his alley. But what happens, right? We get basically stagnation at the federal level. Well, that is to say, unless Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell just pass a bunch of garbage along, right? But, what would be better? A Democrat Congress with a Democrat president passing anti-American law after anti-American law after anti-American law, or a Republican Congress and a Democrat screwball like Biden in the White House getting nothing done? Now, what's incredible is they say, well, we're not getting anything done. We're not getting anything done. What happened to the last 250 years of government where they got all those laws that they passed are still actionable? They still have enforcement. They still have weight. They've done enough already, and it's all been not so good, right? So we don't need more of not so good. We need more of America first. He'll veto everything, and he'll continue to use his executive authority where applicable to screw over America. Now, Joe Biden really doesn't have the authority. The executive branch doesn't have the authority, and the Environmental Protection Agency has already been told by the court system, sorry, you can't penalize companies for engaging in legal behavior. But they tried, folks. They tried saying, oh, this company over here they're polluting, right? They're putting out too much carbon, and so it's bad, and we're going to have to punish them. And the court was like, well, it's not illegal to put out carbon, right? And they're not polluting, right? You're translating, you're interpreting the law to suit your agenda and not reading it proper. Folks, we have a whole lot of trouble. We have a judicial system, that is court system, that is being fundamentally abused by the Democrats. And we even have Republicans on the conservative side who are refusing to do their job and step up. Right? I'm not really happy with a lot of the decisions made, or rather the indecisions made by the courts and the Supreme Court. Clarence Thomas is doing what I think I could call a terrific job of bringing up a lot of these court decisions. All right, they overturned, or rather dismissed, Roe v. Wade and said, no, it's not a federal issue. It goes back to the states, and the states can decide for themselves. And I saw the most grotesque commercial. It was pro-abortion, and it was, we're doing all we can to make sure you've got access to women's health, right? We're doing all we can to get you out of your state and into other states. They're doing everything they can, folks, to push death on America. Whether it's death to the youth, death to children with the Jim Jones juice, death to adults, death to the economy. It is unbelievable where we're at and where this is going. And thank you, Jolene. Folks, we're at the 2-hour mark. Unless someone zips in another super chat donation, I'm going to call it an evening. We need to get lots of rest. We need to get in good shape. We need to have prepared minds. We need to have clear eyes and clear thoughts and clear understanding of where the people in Washington, D.C. are taking this country. And it's not to a good place. We need to vote, and vote like we mean it. You, me, all of us, all of America, and vote for freedom and liberty first. America first. I want to thank all of you who contributed through the super chats to get your questions up. Thanks for doing that. That's totally awesome. And we can't do it without you. And this show, folks, is absolutely the best way, well, to get your opinion out there, to kind of let off some steam, right? We're so screwed. Shit has hit the fan, folks. It's been that way for a couple of years now, and it's getting worse. I have a lot of anxiety about what's going to happen this coming Tuesday. So I'm going to vote, and then I'm going to pay attention. It's going to be one hell of a week. I hope you are prepared for the consequences and the outcome. I hope you've got food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and a means of self-defense with your plan. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Semper Fi means always faithful, and Godspeed.